2132, level 2, calculate paper. First question, hot tub. Kerry buys a hot tub. She wants to put it in a garden and place it on a mat. The mat is rectangular with dimensions 3 by 3.5. Kerry has a coordinate grid to represent her garden. Each square on the major grid lines represents 1 by 1. Points A and B represent 2 corners of the mat. Plot a possible pair of coordinates to represent each of the other 2 corners. Write on the graph what the coordinates are. Okay, so we can see here it's 3 by 3.5. 1, 2, 3. So that's the 3 part. We need the 3.5 part. I'm going this way, and we could have gone this way, so we could have gone 1, 2, 3.5 to there. Don't know why, I just fancy going this way. 1, 2, 3.5 to there. Maybe I'll put a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go grab another one, and I'm going to put it down there. A bit more up. So we've got. Does it say label the coordinates? What? All right, write on the graph what the coordinates are. Okay, so we can't label it C and D. We've got to then label them what the coordinates are. So can we write? Oh my gosh, can't see that now. That's bizarre, isn't it? Right, so we're going to write on here 8.5, 1, 8.5, and 4. Interesting. Okay, right, that's fine. It is, yeah, we've gone a half. I mean, coordinates don't normally comes in halves, but we can double check when we get to the end that it's letting us do half. So 8.5 and 1 and 8.5 and 4. 8.5, why is it not letting me do it? There we go. 8.5. We'll do something like that. 1, save. And we'll do it here. 8.5. Oh, I have the wrong way around. 8.5. 1. Save. I'm going to go back up to this one and change that to 4. Okay. Faffy, but we're there. 2 marks for labeling, 2 points on a grid. We've now got 3.5 here, 3 on the way up. We've labeled them both. Along the corridor up the stairs, we're saying the horizontal number first and then the vertical number. Now let's move on the map. That one says the area of the garden is 85 meters squared. The area of the mat is 10.5 meters squared. What fraction of the garden will the mat cover? So with coordinates, you rarely put 0.5 on there. Obviously, when you're talking map coordinates, it suddenly becomes like a longer number. So it breaks it down into like almost centimeters or millimeters. So on a normal coordinate grid, to put 0.5 is unusual, but it's okay. And that's question 2A, that's 2B. Okay, so a fraction 10.5 over 85. We can't put a decimal point on the top or the bottom of a fraction. So 2 ways we could do this. Simply times both by 2. So that becomes 21 over 170. Or we could just multiply the decimal out by timesing by, oh, I've written it in there, by times it by 10. So that would become 105 over 850. I would prefer this one because I'm just doubling them both, but timesing it by 10, showing you that you're moving the decimal place out. If you'd done it here, so as long as you're showing what you're doing to get rid of the decimal place, they're going to be absolutely fine with it. So we're going to put times by 10 equals 105. Below that, 85 times by 10 times by 10 equals 850. And then we'll put 850 like that. We'll do that one. 1 mark. Not much room for workings out. Just kind of get on with it, put it in there, and move on with the 1 marker. I didn't even need to put that workings out in there, but just to show them I know how I'm getting rid of my decimal place. Have I doubled it or have I times it by 10? Kerry pays £249.99 for a hot tub. The cost of the hot tub has decreased by 22% in the last 12 months. Kerry thinks she has saved over £80 by buying the hot tub now rather than 12 months ago. So this is one of those questions where if we think about, I always think of that program on the 1% Club. If we think about the 100% Club, which number is it we're looking for? We're looking for the 100% number every time we see a question about percentages. This number, as you can see, the price has decreased by 22%. So this number that we've got here is the 78% number, and that is 249.99. Had the price increased, that would be the 122% number. So taking that couple of minutes, well, not calling it because we've only got 6 minutes to do this question, but taking 30 seconds just to say, right, which have I got my 100% number, or have I got slightly less than 100%? In this case, yes, or have I got more than 100%? It's wanting me to work out a reduction in price. It's wanting us to work out the original price. So we can see here we've got 78 pieces of our original 100 that we need. So quite simply, we're going to divide our price we've got by 78, because that's the price of one piece. And then we're going to multiply that answer, what you get, by 100 to get our 100 pieces, or our 100% number. So if we grab our calculator back open and put the calculator on this side, because we've got all the information we need. So the current price is £249.99. We're dividing it by the 78% that it's worth. So equals that. So we know that 1% is 3.205 equals 3.205. We've got 3.205 multiplied by 100. Multiplied by 100. And we can see the original price for the hot tub was £320 and 50p. That's not the question, though, is it? The question is, she says she thinks she saved over £80. So if we now go, our price here, 320.50p, take away our original price, it's saying it should be more than 80. Take away 249.99 equals £70 and 51p. £70 and 51p. So in this instance, Kerry is incorrect. So our bottom mark is she is incorrect. And then our space for our working, for me, it's a case of showing that I know that £249.99 is my 78% number. So I'm just going to say 100 take away 22 equals 78. Okay, so I've showed that I've taken away my number, leaving me with 78%. So the 249.99 equals 78%. Okay, then I've done my sum that I did, the only bit of maths I did, 249 divided by 78 times by 100 equals 320.50. That's what the original price was, but that wasn't the question. The question was, how much does she save? Minus 249.99 equals £70.51. So we've got all our information there. We've got more than two points worth of workings out in here, but we've shown them what the original percent. You probably only get 1 point for all of that because you've shown what the original value was. Then you get your second point for working out how much she saved, and the third point for saying, is she correct or not? Next question.
Is there any, oh, sorry.
No, go on.
I just wanted to raise my, is there any other way
Clapped.
to, can you just show me the question again? I was just looking at it.
Yeah.
How about, so if you find out what, is 22% of 249 and deduct it from the original price. So I've forgotten the way I used to do it. Like I would have done 122%.
Okay.
122%, and I find out 122% will give me this 320.50. Then I deduct 249
So
249.99 from it.
so what you're saying, are you timesing done 0.92? So right, you're going 249.99. What, you're timesing it by 122%? That equals a different number.
Oh,
How hold on.
okay.
So what you're doing 249.99. So you've got that fine. Then what you're doing with your number?
Divide by 122%.
Divide by 122.
Divide by 122.
Okay.
No, I don't know. It's okay. Well, I was just thinking that.
Oh, there's lots of ways to do things, and if you've done
Yeah.
it and you've got £320.50p, then I'm not complaining. I'm thinking, because obviously the way not everybody does things the same way, and when I look on YouTube, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't understand that way. How are they doing it like that? Or when my daughter comes home and says, Dad, we're not allowed to do it like that anymore, I'm like, what do you mean you're not allowed? Oh no, we do it a new way now.
This is
I'm
what
like,
they call percentage decrease, isn't it?
yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yes, it's saying that's the new price. She's paid a new price, and that
That's
new
a new
price.
price. Okay, so all right. No. Okay, so my bad.
No, no.
The question I've come across, they say find out what the old price is.
Okay. So sometimes we have work out the percentage decrease. So you might have said, right, your new price. Sorry, the hot tub is £320.50. Kerry now sees it as £249.99p. How much? What's the percentage discount? That's when we do that old takeaway new divided by old times
All right.
100.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not actually asking you to work out what the decrease
Yeah.
is, because
Yeah.
it gives us that there.
Mm.
But sometimes the questions are asking for that specific decrease amount, and it
All
doesn't
right.
actually tell you.
Okay. All right
But
then.
yeah, please, if you're like the other day when you did that, the athletics track in Wembley, like, oh wow, yeah, you told me a new way of doing it. I'm like, oh yeah, works, amazing. So honestly,
Yeah.
I'd say my daughter's in year 9, and she comes home and saying we are not allowed to do it like that anymore. I'm like,
Oh.
but so for me, that's the new teacher telling them a new way to do it, but it's
Mm.
his way. And
Mm.
if other children are used to doing it a different way and they're
Different
getting
way.
the right answer, why are they restricting that? Because he doesn't
Mm.
understand that way. So for
Mm.
me, if people have got new ways of doing things and it works,
Mm.
tell me, because
And
I love
probably
it.
probably the marking scheme has a particular formula they expect them to follow.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
it's honestly, I do think new teachers are kind of restricting the way they want to teach maths because it's their way. Whereas I'm open. If people say, "Look, let's do it
Mm.
this way," let's have a
Mm.
go.
Mm.
Brilliant. The
It
more ways.
should be, yeah, it should be open because people understand these numbers differently.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
It's so yeah. It's one of those things in schools where they want to get as many people through the exam to get a grade 4 or
Mm.
above as possible, because that's what they're
Mm.
measured on ultimately. So if they know their way works
Mm.
and they've got all the children to do their way on a sum that's going to appear in the exam, they know that robot fashion, they're going to do it. Whereas, like you just said, different minds work in different ways. So we have to kind of be open, but yeah, schools are less open at the minute. Let's have a look. Kerry buys a screen to put behind her hot tub. The screen is made of a rectangle and a semicircle. Kerry
Mm.
uses this formula to estimate the area of the screen. So we've got a formula already. We're not having to do any remembering for this one. Use this formula to estimate the area of the screen. So we've got A equals L times H, because when two letters are straight together, it's multiplying. Add 3L squared divided by 8. So that's not a formula that you would have to ever remember. That's the formula that's given to you. So we got A is going to be the area. We can't, that's the answer. L is the length of the rectangle. Length is 4. And the height is 1.6. So we know that part is 4 times 1.6. If we do in our heads, or we can use a calculator, 4 times 16, you're going to get 64. But 4 times 1.6 is 6.4. So 64. So we know that that first part is 64. Then we're adding
yeah.
3L squared divided by 8. L squared. L is the length again, 4. So that 3L is L squared. So L is 4 squared. So that's 3 times, don't forget, because that's right next to it. So 4 squared is 16. 3 times by 16 is 48. And then 48 divided by 8. So that whole 3L squared suddenly becomes 48 divided by 8, which is 6. And then we've got back to our first part, 64, add 6 equals 70. So if we check back and we've done everything correct, if we put that all in one big sum, I know we kept dropping down there, but L times H, yeah, we had 4 times 1.6, so that was that part. That's the easy bit. That's boxed off. We don't have to worry about that. Add L squared, which is 4 squared, which was 16, times by 3, 48. So 3L squared sounds complicated, but L was 4, so 4 times 4 is 16, times by 3, 48. So 48 divided by 8, 6. So we've got it here for 2 marks, and all I'm going to do on there, I'm not going to do my drop down bits. I'm going to put 4 times by 1.6 equals 6.4. Add, right? Add, and underneath I'm going to go literally 48 divided by 8 equals 6, and I'll go back up to here and say where am I at? Oh, hold on.
48 divided by 6.
Yeah, 6.4. Add 6. Oh, 6.4 add 6 is 12.4. So I've done it wrong. Equals 12.4. I have to put 70 there.
Yeah, because you did 64 instead of 6.4.
Oh, gosh.
At the top there.
Yeah, see it.
Yeah. Yes, you did. Yeah, 6.4, not 64.
Good job. Somebody's on the ball, Viv. I like it. Keeping me on my toes. I like it. And so that's 12.4. Okay, that's correct. I'm thinking that's one big board that she's having to buy, 70 meters squared. Wow, that's gonna cover her whole house. 12.4. Wow, and 2 marks. So again, not reading a question or not. I know I've done the math and I'm thinking 3 times 16 in my head, not 4 times 1.6.
What confused is that you didn't put the decimal points, and that's
6.4.
So there.
Yeah. We sorted it. That's fine. You've sorted it for me. That's good. Kerry starts to fill the hot tub with water. The hot tub is cylindrical. So when we're thinking of cylindricals, I don't think of a hot tub. I think of a tube of Pringles. Okay, tube of Pringles, cylindrical shape. I'm now thinking, right, I now need my circle formulas. So the 2 circle formulas that I know are how to work out the circumference, which is that's a squash circle, but circumference will be pi times diameter, and then how to work out the area of my circle will be pi times radius squared. So I know that whatever question it is, with either one of those, I can work out this question. They're the only 2 circle formulas that I need as a base. Once I know those 2, I can do anything with a circle. So let's have a look. The hot tub is a cylindrical with an internal radius of 70 centimeters. So my internal radius is 70 centimeters. The rate of the flow of the water in a garden tap is 0.2 liters per second. Okay. Work how long it would take for the water to reach a depth of 60 centimeters. All right. So when we're working out volume, everything inside. If you can work out the area of a circle and times it by how deep we need it, that's the area of that cylinder, the volume of that cylinder, because it's the area. If you think about a square, if we know what's on the end of that square, we've worked out the area of that square, and we times it by how deep that square is, we've worked out the volume of that cube. So it's the same with a circle. If we work out the area of that end piece and times it by how deep we want it, which is 60, we've got it. We've sussed it out. So let's look at this part here. We need this one here, look, area. So it's pi times by radius squared. So 70 squared. So 70 times 70, we'll keep it in centimeters. 70 times 70 is 4,900. Okay, times by pi, 3.14. Okay, so we've now got an area of that circle of 15,386 centimeters squared, because we're only doing the area of that circle to start with. So we know that the area of that hot tub part is 15,386 centimeters squared. Now, when we add in the depth, the third dimension, that becomes cubed, not squared. So we've got our area here, 15,386 times by, we want it to go to 60 centimeters, equals, keep it in our calculator, times by 60 equals, oh, just put times by 6, damn it. Let's go 15,386 times by 60 equals 923,160 centimeters cubed. We've now got the volume of our volume of our hot tub. We know how quick it fills up, 0.2 liters per second. So if we go and think of liters as being, right, so if we've got 1 liter, yeah, that's 1,000 milliliters. Okay, if we've got 1,000 milliliters, how much have we got when it comes to centimeters cubed? Okay, so if we work this out and say it's going to go 0.2 liters per second, we're going to divide this number by, if we go up a little bit, if we look at this number and say 0.2 liters per second, if we go 1 liter per, well, so that's 1 liter every 5 seconds, isn't it? So let's move that out of the way and bring this down. We're going to divide this number by 1,000, because that's how many liters it's going to take. So let's divide that by 1,000, and we now can see, so we've divided our big number by 1,000 to get liters. So we can see that it's going to fill up, and we need 923.16 liters. It does 0.2 liters per second. So we have to divide this number by 0.2. So divide that number by 0.2, and it will give us how many seconds. Then we can do minutes, and if it takes hours, we can do that. So divide that number by 0.2. By 0.2, because that's how many liters per second it does. So we know that it's going to take, it's in seconds still, don't forget, 4,615.8 seconds. Okay, let's say 4,616. Let's get rid of that. So we know it's 4,616 seconds. There's 60 seconds in 1 minute. Okay, 60 sec equals 1 min. So let's divide our number by 60 to see how many minutes it's going to take. Divide by 60. equals 76.93 minutes. Is that enough? I would be happy with that, but it says hours. Okay? Because I think 76 minutes, I know that's just over an hour. I'm all right with that. I know I can go get a cup of tea, make me a sandwich, and come back, and my hot tub's nearly full. But they want it in hours. And so we know that 60 minutes equals 1 hour. So we divide that number by 60 once again. And we divide that by 60. And we now know it's 1.282 hours. Okay, it says in our, let me just drop that out of the way. So 2 decimal places. That's why I wrote the 3rd decimal place in there, because it wants this number to be the end. And as we can see, that's a 2. So we know that if it's a 5 or above, that number would have gone up to a 9. Because it's a 2, that number remains as a 8. And so for me, 1.28 hours. In fact, somebody says to me, "Oh, can you come back in 1.28 hours to put your car up?" I'll be like, "What?" If somebody says, "Can you come back in 76 minutes?" I'm like, "All right, I can do that." But for me, we're doing what it says in the question, 1.28 hours. It's slightly less real life, I think, than saying 76 minutes, but or they could have said 1 hour and 16 minutes. That would have been easier. However, they wanted it in hours. What workings out would I put on here? I'd definitely show that I've worked out the area of my circle at the end. So I'd have said 15,386. Then I'd have done my volume, 15,386 times by how deep I want to fill it up. So I now have a big number, but it's in centimeters cubed. Centimeter, and I can't really write. I don't have a little 3 on here, so it looks a bit odd when you do it like that. And then once you've got that number, we divide it by 1,000, because we know that 1,000 milliliters is 1 liter. So we divide it by 1,000. So we go where we got 923,160 divided by 1,000 equals 923.16. Oh, that's 2. 923. And so we now know that is our liters. Liters. Once we've got our liters, we then have to divide it by 0.2 to get how many seconds. So 923.16 divided by 0.2 equals seconds, which was 4615.8. We then changed that to 46. Probably would have made no difference. 4616 divided by. You probably could have divided it by. Could we divide it by? Yeah, we could have divided it by. I'll tell you in a second. We divide it by 60 first, equals 76.93, and then we divided 76.93. Sometimes when you're reducing things twice, it's quicker to multiply the reducer by the reducer. And what I mean by that is, let me go 0.28. So if we were dividing a number by 60, then dividing a number by 60 again, if we did 60 times 60, 3,600, that only reduces 1 step. But from here, how do we divide our calculator? Because I knew we were dividing by 60 and dividing by 60 again. But if we were going 34616 and we divided by 60 divided by 60 times those two together, 3,600. So divided by 3,600, still getting the same answer. Okay, we've just done it. For me, it's a little bit slower the way I did it, but I know that there's 60 seconds in 1 minute, bang, done. Then I know there's 60 minutes in 1 hour, hence why I did 2-step. If I'm just saying, oh yeah, let's just divide it by 3,600, they'd be like, people think, what? Why are you doing that? So the two dividers that I did it by, I put it into minutes and then into hours by dividing it by 60 twice. I'm happy to do the two-step because I know that what I'm getting at the end of it is my hours. So sometimes doing that does give you a little bit of time back, but 2-3 seconds, that's all. Next question. A typical hot tub holds 309 gallons of water when it's full. Chlorine needs to be added to the water. 250 gallons of water needs 1.5 tablespoons of chlorine. 1 tablespoon of chlorine weighs 14 grams. How many grams of chlorine are needed for 309 gallons of water? So 250 gallons. Hold on, let's do it actually. I'll put my gallons above because then I can see what I'm doing. Gallons is the same as tablespoon, and it says 1.5. How many? And that's 14 grams, sorry. Grams, 14. So when we're looking at this now, I automatically think, what can I get rid of? What can I get rid of? I know that that's wrong as well. I know here that 1 tablespoon is 14 grams. So 1.5 tablespoons, straight away, 14 times 1.5 equals 21. Okay, so straight away I know that 250 gallons is 21. So for me now, I just got rid of that. I don't need that. I don't need that information anymore because I know what 1.5. You could even do it in spoons, couldn't you? You could say, right, what does, 1 tablespoon is 14 grams. So we could have worked it out that way, but we've now been given, if we think about that primary school window that I sometimes draw, we've got 21. And then we know that we need 309, and we've got our window here. So if we think about this number here, how we're going to do it, if we think about 250 needs 21, we've got 250. Do we divide that by 21, or do we do 21 divided by 250? Which way around are we doing it? If we do it, and we'll show it, let me just do it on a calculator. If we go this way around, 21 divided by 250 times by 309 equals 25.56956. Okay, so we put that in there, 25.956. Does it say round it up or anything like that? So we've just gone backwards. We've done what we've got divided by how many gallons it's worth. So we're almost saying per gram. So we've divided the 21 by 250 gallons. Okay, so we know that per gallon, so if we go back to that first bit, 21, so we've got 21 grams of chlorine in this hand, and we're dividing it by 250. We're split into 250 parts, so we know how many gallons is how many gallons, 1 gallon, how much chlorine we need. So I can get my words out then. So we're going to 21. I'll just put 21 in there. 21 is the amount of chlorine we've got, divided by 250 gallons. So that is the chlorine per gallon. So we've done 21 divided by 250 equals grams per gallon. Okay, so now we've got the grams per gallon, which was 0.084. We need to know the amount for 309 gallons, so we simply times our number that we got for 1 gallon by 309, and that gives us that 25.956. So when we set it out in those 4 windows there, we work our way round. It's that they're the only 4 numbers we need. We don't need that tablespoon bit. If I was reading that question quickly, like I did right at the start, I'm putting 14 in there for some reason, and that's because I didn't read it quickly. That's because I read it quickly. To me, that's a bit cheeky, that part, because it's saying that 250 gallons needs 1.5 tablespoons. And then underneath, instead of saying 1.5 tablespoons is 14 grams, it's saying only 1. So straight away, if you're a vague reader like me, I'm probably skipping. I'm probably not seeing 1.5 there, and I should, because it says clearly 1.5 there. But I'm presuming that because it's a math question, why would it change straight away? Why would it ask me to do something when it's giving me the information in clear writing? So that part for me is a tricky bit, only because my eyes sometimes flash over things. So we put that there as 21. That's the first part. Once you know that, you can, don't matter about teaspoons. It just goes for the actual grams. So my workings out, quite straightforward here. I go 14 times by 1.5 to start with equals 20 equals 21. So I know that part. Then I'm going to go 250. I'm going to go 21 divided by 250 times by 309 equals 25.956. And that's my and for 3 marks there, as long as you set your figures out, as it say nothing else, no, don't need anything else. I think as long as you set your numbers out correctly there, you're actually okay with what you're writing. It's just making sure, like I didn't at the start, notice that part. Let's go next question. Pizza. Is it pizza and ice cream? Pizza and ice cream, same sort of thing, isn't it? Luigi manages an ice cream shop. He buys wafers for his ice creams. 8 wafers fit together to form a circle. Work out angle A. So a circle or a square, and we've got all the squares the same. Any 4-sided shape, so it can be. That's another one. The same. We could have how do I make a diamond better? So that's better, isn't it? Yeah. Any 4-sided shape, any circle, then the degrees are 360. Any flat line, any triangle is always 180. So we've got ourselves a wafer, but if we get 8 wafers like it says, 1, 2, 3, 4, not the best. It's saying that that's the size of the angle. So 360 divided by 8 equals, well, 360 divided by 9 is 4. So 360 divided by 8, is that 4.5? Let's have a look. It's 4.5, isn't it? Why am I doing it? But let's do it. 360 divided by 8 equals 4.5 or 45. Okay, 45 degrees. I mean, we should know, well, I'm thinking we should know that because 360 divided by 4 would split into quarters. So quite straightforward. When I've got 4 quarters, I've got a 90-degree angle. So when I've got a half, a quarter of a circle, which is 90 degrees, split into half, I should just think it's 90 divided by 2, which is 45. So for me, a long way around about doing that, didn't I? I did that long. Divided by 8 equals 45 degrees. Wafers. Luigi puts some ice cream tubs in a freezer. The freezer has internal dimensions of 70 by 48 by 137. The diagram shows the dimensions of an ice cream tub. Okay, so we've got a pointless question, not saying pointless question in the fact of the math, but we've got to click on this to work out, to click on another picture for the ice cream tub, and I'm just going to draw it over here because I can't bother to keep clicking on it because I just don't get why it couldn't just have the picture of the ice cream tub in the question. Why we have to click on something is beyond me, and that's 15 there. Right, so we know each ice cream tub is there. Can we get rid of that ice cream? Yes, we can. And the freezer, it's a bit like the question with the candles of the other paper. I think we've had a shipping container where you can see how many containers a ship fits in. So the freezer is, I'm not going to make it massive. And again, that's not very accurate, but okay, so our freezer is 137 high. It's 70 in length and it's 48 along there. So quite simply, we can fit these tubs in. If we go 34 add 34, that's 68. So we can fit 2 along here. So we can fit 1, 2. So we know it can fit 2 along. And we know it's 15 along, and it's 48 here. So 15 add 15 add 15 equals 45. So a little bit of wiggle room, but we've got 3 wide. So each layer is 2 times 3. So we know each layer is 6 per layer. And then we need to know how high up. So how high up? How high up? We've got 137 high, and we've got 14. Let's just get a calculator. Why am I missing? 137 high divided by 14 equals 9.7. So 9. Okay. So 137 divided by 14 equals 9.78. Therefore, 9. We're going to call them 9 rows, 9 stacks, 9 layers. Let's go 9 layers. So we can go 6 times 9 equals 54. So for that question, it is a case of how many little boxes fit in a big box, whether it's ice cream tubs, shipping containers, candles. It's literally big box, little box. For my workings out, I'm probably going to go like we just did then. So along is 2, wide, oh my gosh, wide is 3, high is 9. So 2 times 3 times 9 equals 54. 54 tubs. That sounds divine. 54 tubs of ice cream. Wow. With 2 kids' birthdays last week, I'm all ice creamed and chocolate caked out. But it was good. Luigi sets the sale price for ice creams. He finds these prices for a cone with 1 scoop of ice cream. So this is, oh, I can't even see. This is, there's no more there, but it's a 4-pointer. So I often think this one is a bit of a slimmed down question. I think it should be worth more than 4 points, but it's not. So we can't do anything about that because it's involved a lot. You've got the mode, you've got working out per ice cream, and it's a 534% profit margin. So I always think this question when I read it, I'm like, wow, 4 points. That's not a lot for this. So he finds these prices for a cone with 1 scoop of ice cream. Absolute extortion ice cream when you buy from the ice cream truck. He decides to sell a cone with 1 scoop for the modal price. So modal to start with, modal equals most common. Let's look at the most common, 350, 360, 350, 350. So we know that the modal price is £3.50. That's that top part done for 1 mark. And I know, oh yeah, that's really easy. But sometimes this bar, I think it costs Luigi £20 and 40p for 1 tub of ice cream and 6p per 6 pence for 1 cone. He knows that there are 40 scoops of ice cream in 1 tub. So if we go £20 and 40 divided by 40, we can now find out how much per ice cream scoop he's going to pay. I think, would I turn this to pence now? Let's have a look. Let's do it in pounds and see what happens. 0.40 divided by 40. No, that's okay. 0.51. I'm thinking, is it going to be some really long, crazy number? But it's not. 0.51. So 51p for a scoop. Okay. Then we've got a wafer cone. A wafer cone is 6p. Add 6p for the cone equals 57p ink cone. Okay, so we can now figure out what it's asking us. We've worked out the cost per ice cream. Luigi works out that the sale price of an ice cream with 1 scoop is 534% more than the cost. Is he correct? The cost is 57p. Okay, times by 5.34. So 534%. It's not times by 534. It's times, and it's not times by 0.534 because that is 50%. So we're timesing by 500, which is the 5, and 34% equals. So, and this is going to give us our answer in P, don't forget. So our P up here is 350 because it's £3.50. So that's the pence we're looking for. Is it going to be more than that? So let's get our 57p in there. So we added our 6p for a cone. Let's not worry about adding it. Let's just put 57p times by 534%. So 5.34 equals 304p. So equals 304.38. Let's go back out. So if we worked out our cost price times by 534%, and it's still less than the price he's selling them for, Luigi works out the sale price is more is 530% more than the cost. See, it is more than, but the way that question's worded for me, I'm tempted to write is incorrect. Why am I tempted to write is incorrect? Because it's more than 534%, not it's just the way that's worded. Those two words, those two, if it had been is more than 534%, I agree. But it said here, and one scoop is 534% more. So he's saying it's exactly 534% more than the cost price. Is it correct? That's the way I read it from my English point of view. So I don't think he's correct. But so 3.50 equals is modal. So we've got that for 1 mark. We've then done the ice cream tub divided by 40 to work out 1 scoop of ice cream is 0.51. Then we've added the 6p, 51, add 6p equals 57. And then we've done the 534. So we've done 57 times by 5.34. In other words, 534% equals 304.38. So we've got £3.04. So well, I'd love to look at. We can't look at the answer just yet. We'll do one more question maybe. So I think actually we will. Can I open up the answer? I think he's incorrect. I think it's so right. Rather than worry about it until next time, let's have a look. We're on question 3C or 9. Question 3C or 9. Let's have a quick look. Question 3C or 9. Because I honestly do think if they put is correct, then I've just read that question a little bit wrong because we've got the right sums. Okay. Correct answer 3 point. We've done the mode. Yes, we have. Yeah, wicked. Yeah. So thank goodness for that. They have put no. So it is no because it's more than 534%. Thank goodness for that. I just when I was reading that, I just was unsure about whether I was reading that incorrectly or whether it was a mistake they've made. So yeah, we are correct that he's incorrect. That's good to know. Okay. It's not asking you to say how much his profit margin is. So once we know that it's more than 534%, is incorrect because he said it's going to be 500. Is that why I've got hiccups? 534%. Okay, can we squeeze in one more question? Yes, we can. It's 53. Luigi records the number of sales each day for the last 15 days. The scatter diagram shows the number of sales and the temperature on the day. Describe the relationship between the number of sales and temperature. So for 1 mark, are we worrying about description or are we saying if things are on the up, it's positive, and if things are on the slide, it's negative? I am going to write in here positive correlation. If you weren't sure about if it's a positive or negative correlation, say what you see. So we can see quite clearly when it's hotter, they sell more ice creams. I would say that when it's hotter, more ice creams are sold. It's up to you. I'm thinking positive correlation, 1 mark, 2 words, let's go. Or when it's hotter, the more ice creams are sold. It doesn't matter which way. You've been asked to describe the relationship. Mathematically, it's in a positive correlation. If you're not sure about positive or negative, just say what you see. Is this question a big one? Because we don't only took another 1 marker. Okay. So that was D, 3D. This one's 3E. Okay. Luigi records the number of sales each day for the last 15 days. The scatter diagram shows the number of sales and the temperature on each day. A temperature of 23 is the forecast for tomorrow. Luigi wants to predict the number of sales. So first of all, because it's going to be 23 tomorrow, we're going to go, that's 20. Oh my gosh. That is awkward, isn't it? Because that'd be 22.5. So 23 is the 6th square along. So we're going to go up. But first of all, we need to do is a line of best fit. We've got a nice tool here. We can draw our line in there all the way through. And then if we're not happy with it, we grab one side and we make it a little bit better. I'm happy with that. I think we're as close to as many crosses as possible. Maybe tip it a little bit. Oh gosh, I've done another line now. Well, grab my line again. Where's my line? Maybe I'd tip it a little bit more potentially. I won't worry too much about it. It's a 1 mark question. So we're going to go up at 23, which is here. And we can see it's to hit the first line there. We're going along there. He'd sell about 72 ice creams. 72. Let's say 70. Well, I was about to write the word 2. 72 ice creams. I think is that state. Oh no, we've done that. So what does it say? The first question. Show on the scatter diagram how. All right. So for 1 mark, we've drawn our line of best fit. For the second mark, you're using your line of best fit to predict the number of sales. I thought that was all 1 question for 1 mark. So that's real cool. That's 2 marks for drawing a line and then saying what you've seen on using your line. I don't think we're going to have time for the next question. No, we're not. It's an estimate. It's a frequency table. The process of frequency tables, you never get many marks for them, but we know the frequency table process is always the same. We find the midpoints, multiply the midpoints by the number of, get a total, which is the sum of all these midpoints times the number, and then divide it by 20. So again, for workings out, I'm not probably saying 140 add 180 divided by 2. I'm thinking 140 to 180. Middle is 160. 160 times 1 is 160. 180 to 220 is 200. So I'm straight away missing myself out doing midpoints. I'm just writing the midpoint in, multiplying it by the number of days. But we'll start on that question tomorrow. And we'll finish this paper off. We're more than halfway through. We've got 35 minutes left in the paper, which is correct because we've been on it for an hour-ish. And if we look at what questions are left, a 2, another 2, a 2. So we're nearly on the last topic. Is there any biggies left for a 2 and a 5? So the last question's a big one. We'll tackle that when we get to it. We've got a conversion graph we've got to click on as well, so it's opening on another page. I don't know why they do that. I really don't. I mean, for me, why don't they just have that there or here, and so you can see it straight time? To have to open it on a different screen is just ludicrous.
They just want to stress the students. That's why.
It's mad. It's mad. I don't get it. It's like, give me the information in front of me.
As if the questions are not hard enough.
Yeah, exactly. It's an exam. I'm thinking like, where's this WhatsApp anyway? So give me all the information I need without trying to find got to click somewhere else and do this. It's like, what? But yeah, that's what examiners do, isn't it? That they're there to test your patients. Okay,